All right, so let's continue. Number 10, it says to find the surface area. So this has a lot of surfaces, and hopefully I did not miss one. Notice that I changed the units to inches, and I changed this to 13 cents per square foot. Whew. So the back is a rectangle, 11 by 12, 132. This front right here is a rectangle, and it's 11, since this is 3, this one is 3 as well. It's 11 by 3. And then there's one in the back, right? So that's the other 33. Then I did the top, right? Which is 12 by 3. Then I did 7 by 12. And I think since the whole thing is 11, and from here to here is 4, so then from here to here it has to be 7. 7 plus 4 is 11. Okay? So this right here is 7 times 12. 4. Now this one. Since this is 4, that's 4, this is 4, the height is 4. So this is 4 by 4. And of course there's one in the back over here hiding. It's the other one. Now this one on top, since this is 12, that's 12, this is 12, and this is 4, so 12 by 4 is 48. And this front, this is 4, it's 12, this is 12, that's 12, 4 by 12, 48. Then the whole base, right, the whole base is, oh yeah, because this is 4, and since that's, since that's 3, and that's 3, 3 plus 4 is 7, so 7 by 12 is the bottom, and when I added them all together, I got 530. Then, because the information is in cubic feet, I know that there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So 530 inches squared, we're going to use dimensional analysis. 12 inches, 1 foot, but that only cancels one of the inches, so we need to do it again. 12 inches, 1 foot. All right, so now inches squared is canceled by those 2 inches. And in the calculator, you do 530. All right, use the fraction key. 530 divided by 12 times 12. So you gotta make sure both your 12s are in the denominator. And that's how I got 3.68 square feet. Now there's 50,000 boxes, and it's 13 cents on the dollar for the material per square foot. So I took my box, multiplied it by 0.13, and then I multiplied it by 50,000, and I got this much. That's how much it's going to cost the material for the boxes, the packaging. Then there was this one, and what I noticed is I should have made the numbers bigger, but I didn't, which is why it's going to come out small. But just so that you understand, I kind of made up the numbers, and I went a little bit too low. All right, so the base is a square because it says 5 by 5, so that's 25. Now this is a triangle. Right, this triangle already gives you the altitude, which is 13, and we know that the whole thing is 5, the whole base is 5. So that's why I'm doing 1/2 5 times 13, and there's 4 faces, 4 triangles. So I add it all up, I get 155. I do the conversion by 1 foot 12 inches, 1 foot 12 inches. And I didn't want to use the decimal, so I just left it as a fraction. Then I did the same thing I did over here, I multiplied by 0.13 and then by 50,000. and I got this. So this is more expensive. This will be less expensive. And how much less expensive? If you subtract them, it'll be 16,923 more expensive. But in reality, I should have made this one bigger so that the difference in price wasn't going to be that much, okay? All right, please review, make sure you know how to do it. All right, so that takes care of all of that. So now this one, similar triangles have a constant proportional ratio between corresponding sides. Find the height of the tower. And the height of the tower is this one, so I think I just called it X. Round to the nearest meter. Now this is in meters. This one will also be in meters, but these are in centimeters. And so there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. I am sorry about that, but it is late and I'm still here recording. So 1 centimeter needs to be divided by 100 to make it a meter. So that's what the 1 over 100 is, and that's what the 0.2 over 100 is. And then I just made a proportion. The tall tower with this height, x over 1 over 100, equals to this bottom one times the corresponding bottom one. So 8 over 0.2 over 100. Then I cross multiplied 0.2 over 100 times x, 8 times 1 over 100. And since they're both being divided by 100, if I multiply by 100 on both sides, guess what happens to the 100s? They cancel. And so now I'm left with 0.2x equals 8. I divide both sides by 0.2, and I get that x equals 40 meters tall. And that's the height of the tower. All right, but please make sure that you know how to do similar triangles and that you check your units to make sure they match. Expected value. So this is where you take the value and you multiply it by the probability, and then you do it again, and you add them all up. So 5 times 0 plus 10 times 0.7 plus 15 times 0.1 plus 20 times 0.2. Calculator, 12.5. Ching. All right, this one. 0 times 1 over 32 plus 1 times 5 over 32 plus 2 times 5 over 16 plus 3 times 5 over 16 plus 4 times 5 over 32 plus 5 times 1 over 32. Calculator, I got a 5 over 2, which is a 2.5. Estimating value by modeling to known 3D objects. So the bowl shown has a diameter of 5 inches at the top, which means the radius is 2.5, and 3 inches at the base. So the diameter is 3, which means the radius is 1.5. The height of the bowl is 4 inches. So that's the 4 inches right here. Which is the better model to estimate the volume and why? Well, I'm not sure if you make it into I don't know. This is 2.5. That'll also be 2.5. I guess I'm thinking if it's going to be enough volume. Half a sphere with a diameter of 5 inches. I'm not sure if it overestimates it, but they say it overestimates it in the examples. Okay, so we'll go with this one, overestimates. The cylinder with a diameter of 3 would actually make it a smaller diameter, like this, right? So it would definitely underestimate it because it will be smaller. Now, if you use a diameter of 5 inches, it will overestimate it because it'll be bigger than the bottom part, which will make it bigger. So that'll definitely overestimate it. So this one is an underestimate. This one is an overestimate. And this one is supposed to be overestimate though. We'll go from there. So please make sure that you remember. All right, so children receive a toy when ordering from the children's menu. There are 3 different types of toys, and one of the toys is a car. Okay, so the toys are not going to run out. What is the probability that all children will receive a car? Well, since the toys aren't going to run out, the first child is 1 out of 3. I guess there's 3 toys. One is a car. The second child, 1 over 3. Third child, 1 over 3. So they're independent events. So all we have to do is multiply them. So this is the probability that all of them will get a car. Now, what is the probability that only 2 children will receive a car? Now, remember, it's either the first 2 kids receive a car and then the last one doesn't. The first one receives a car, the second one doesn't, and the last one does get a car. Or the first one doesn't get a car and the last 2 get a car. So there's 3 combinations. I mean, three outcomes, okay? So what's the probability that the first child gets the car? 1 over 3. 1 over 3 for the second one, and then if you don't get a car, then it's 2 out of 3. Right? And then we need to do this 3 times because there's 3 outcomes. So you end up with 6 over 27, which might reduces to 2 over 9. Okay. And then remember, it's because we have 3 outcomes. Angles. What are and what do we know about vertical angles? Vertical angles are congruent and they're across from each other when 2 lines intersect. What are and what do we know about supplementary angles? Supplementary angles sum to 180. So angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. Right? And they can be adjacent, right, to each other. They don't have to, but they can be. What is the transitive property of equality with supplementary angles? Well, that one says that angle 1 and angle 2, their sum should be 180 because they're supplementary. Angle 2 and angle 3, their sum should be 180 because they're supplementary. And if that's the case, right, look at it this way. Angle 2 plus angle 1 is 180. Angle 2 plus angle 3 is 180. So therefore, that means that angle 1 has to be equal to angle 3. And this is the transitive property with the supplementary angles. So are angle 1 and 4 supplementary? Yes, they are. Write a statement. Angle 1 plus angle 4 equals 180. Are angle 4 and angle 3 supplementary? Yes, they are. Write the statement. Angle 4 plus angle 3 equals 180. Are angle 1 and 3 congruent? And by which property? Yes, they're congruent by the transitive property. What is the measurement of angle 1 and angle 3? Well, we can solve for it. Angle 1 is 180, and we need to subtract angle 4 from both sides. And over here, angle 3 is 180, and we need to subtract angle 4 from both sides. So then, there you go. Trigonometry. Hopefully you remember your SOHCAHTOA. Now, finding the angle means that you gotta take the inverse of both sides, okay? So this is 90, so that's the hypotenuse. That's opposite. And so that one would be adjacent. So that's tangent. The tangent of the angle is equal to 3 over 6. Since we want the angle, we got to do the inverse tan. So we take the inverse tan on both sides to get rid of tan. So theta is equal to the inverse tan of 3/6. Please make sure that you remember how to type that into your calculator. Shift tan. You gotta do shift and then tan. And I guess you can do 3/6. So remember that you should be in degrees when you're doing this. All right, this one, that's 90, so that's hypotenuse. That's the angle, so that's opposite and adjacent. So tangent of the angle is 4/12. Take the inverse tan on both sides. This cancels. So theta is the inverse tan of 4/12. This is 90, so this one is the hypotenuse. That's opposite, and this one's adjacent. So that's why it's cosine, adjacent, hypotenuse. So the cosine of the angle is 12/14. Take the inverse cosine of both sides, and you get this. Now this is 90, so this is hypotenuse. This one's opposite. That's why it's sine. The sine of the angle is 27/33. Take the inverse sine of both sides, and you get this. Okay. How do we find the volume of a cylinder? A cylinder is a prism. So it's the area of the base times the height. The base is a circle. So the area is pi r squared, and h is the height of the cylinder. And the radius is 6, so pi 6 squared times 11. Okay. So this one, how do we do a rotation to 180? So basically you want to do is like a straight line. So you want to take this point and this point, and just the slope. You go up 1. Once you hit the origin, repeat it, up 1. So that's q prime. J to the origin. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to repeat 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So don't quite have a ruler, but all of these lines are collinear. See? This will be collinear here. They use the origin as a point. The slope has to be the same. All right, so the same thing for this one. So you're going to go from H to the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And once you have the locations, that's what it would look like if it was 180 degrees. And I think with this one, I did it like this. And then you rotate 180, and that's how it ends up over there. See? 180 degrees. All right, so with this one, the first thing I did is I plotted the points, S, V, G, 2, 0, 1, 3, 5, 0. And I did the same thing. Go to the origin, 1, 2. Keep going, 1, 2. So that's V prime. From G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G prime. From S to the origin, I got to go 1, 2, 3 down, 1 over. So 1, 2, 3 down, 1 over S prime. All right, so it should be a straight line that goes through the origin between the points. Right, so. The same thing for this one. And I'll also use the graph paper for this. Where was the original one? I definitely did it this way. Here we go. All right, so that's the original one. I put my pencil here, and I'm going to rotate 180. And see? Overlap. All right, a little bit more trigonometry, but this one is finding side lengths. And same thing, SOHCAHTOA. All right, angle, opposite, adjacent. You need to practice identifying your angles. So because it's opposite adjacent, it's going to be tangent. So tan 27 is x over 10. And I just cross multiply. So x is equal to 10 times tan 27. All right, this one, this is 90, so that's the hypotenuse. And this is right next to it, so it's the adjacent. Okay, adjacent hypotenuse is cosine. So cosine 39 is equal to x over 7. Cross multiply to get x. X equals 7 times cosine 39. Okay. This is the opposite. This is 90, so that's hypotenuse. So that means it's going to be sine. The sine of 46 is 8 over x. And remember I told you when x is on the bottom, all you gotta do is swap these two. So x is 8 divided by sine 46. Radians to degrees, degrees to radians. You need to remember that 180 degrees equals pi radians. So this is 255 degrees. So we're gonna multiply by pi over 180. 180 goes in the bottom because you want the degrees to cancel. Calculator 17 over 12 pi. Right. Negative 225 times pi over 180. 180 in the bottom because we want the degrees to cancel and we want to be left with radians. So negative 5 over 4 pi. Now this is in radians. Now it's going to be 180 over pi. Okay. Put it in the calculator, you get negative 510 degrees times 180 over pi, 300 degrees. What do we know about the properties of a square? When you graph a square, this distance, that distance, this distance, and this distance should all be the same. Okay. More trigonometry. Find x and y. What is the total distance between the base of the building and the base of the tree? All right, so it's already split up for us. We see that this is a perpendicular altitude, right? It's an altitude that makes this a right triangle, right? That's opposite, and that's adjacent. So that is tangent. So tangent 29 is 400 over x. Swap a rule. X is 400 divided by tan 29. Now this is also a right triangle. This is the angle. And it is also opposite over adjacent. So tan 50 is 400 over y. Y, sorry, since y is in the bottom, we do the swap-a-roo. 400 divided by tan 50. And the total distance is just the sum. Exterior angle theorem. The exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the two opposite interior angles. So in this case, this is the exterior angle because it is outside of the triangles. And so it doesn't include the one that's next to it. These are called the remote interior angles. Their sum equals the outside. So A plus B equals exterior. So this one's exterior. And those are the two remote interiors. So the exterior, which is 8x minus 11, equals the sum of these two. So 2x plus 5x is 7x. So it equals 7x plus 6. And then you just subtract 7x on both sides. You get x minus 11 equals 6. Add 11 to both sides, and we get that x equals 17. Okay. This is the exterior. Those are the two inside. So 7x minus 15 equals We got to combine terms here. 4x and x is 5x, and 28 minus 3 is 25. So the exterior equals their sum. Subtracting 5x on both sides, I get 2x minus 15 equals 25. Add 15 on both sides, I get 2x equals 40. Divide by 2 on both sides, I get that x equals 20. All right, so please make sure to review this tonight and throughout the day tomorrow, okay? So that you're ready for your test. Make sure to write down formula sheet or even one piece of paper with whatever you need in the front and in the back, okay?